Satyarupa Mataji, you will please kindly have to tell me what verse because I did not bring my Bhagavatam. I have come to Rasraj Gopal Prabhu's ashram. Hare Krishna. Yes, Keshav Madhav Prabhu.
Guruji, do you want to take a break for a couple of minutes, drink water or something?
No, no, it's okay. I'm good. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And text number 2 is where? I'm sorry, Satyrupa Mataji mentioned. Sorry.
It's okay, Prabhuji. It's chapter 3, verse number 17 onwards.
17. Okay, I have it pulled up. So we'll get started. Okay. Thank you very much. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले सोऽहं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमां विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। विद्यातपोवित्तवपूर्वयः कुलैः सतां गुणैषड्भिरसत्तमेतरैः स्मृतौ हतायामृतमानदुर्दृशः स्तब्धा न पश्यन्ति हि धाम भूयसाम् गुणाधिकान्मुदं लिप्सेद् अनुक्रोशं गुणाधमात् मैत्रीं समानादन्विच्छेन्न तापैरभिभूयते। योऽन्तप्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरः स्वधाम्ना अन्यांश्च हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वदादीन् प्राणान् नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम्। भक्तिं मुहुः प्रवहतां त्वयि मे प्रसङ्गो भूयादनन्तमहताममलाशयानां येनाञ्जसोल्बणमुरुव्यसनं भवाब्धिं नेष्ये भवद्गुणकथामृतपानमत्तः। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, dear devotees, we are continuing our study of Granthraj Srimad Bhagavatam as part of our Bhakti Vaibhava course. We are in the fourth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 3, entitled Talks Between Lord Shiva and Srimati Sati Devi. Text 17. So this is Srimad Bhagavatam 4.3.17. Oh, it is the memorization verse. Hari bol. Vidya tapo vittava purvaya kulaihi satam gunaishadbhirasat तमेतरैः स्मृतौ हतायां धृतमानदुर्दृशः स्तब्धा न पश्यन्ति हि धाम भूयसाम्. Shri Shankar Bhagwan is speaking to his beloved Ardhangini, his beloved wife, Shri Sati Devi. When she proposes that let us go, or at least let me go to my father's festival, everyone is going. You don't need an invitation to go to father's house. Please let me go. I am after all materialistic. I am stuck in the bhav sagar, whereas you are abhav. You are abhav. She addresses Lord Shiva as abhava. You are beyond the bhav sagar. But I am not. I am deen. I am fallen. I am a tattvavit. I don't know spiritual knowledge. So please allow me to go. And Lord Shiva is replying that, my dear wife, it is but natural for you to desire to go there. And you are correct when you say that one does not need an invitation to visit one's father's house or one's spiritual master's house or a friend's house. However, one should not visit the house of someone who is a fault finder and a blasphemer. Your father has blasphemed me, cursed me, he hates me, he detests me. Therefore, it is not proper to go there. In this verse, विद्यातपवित्तवपोवयकुलैः सतां गुणैषद्भिरसत्तमत्तरैः स्मृतौ हतायामृतमानदृशौ स्तब्धा न पश्यन्ति हि धाम भूयसाम्. Shri Shankar Bhagwan is saying, Lord Shiva is saying, although the six qualities, education, austerity, wealth, beauty, youth, and high heritage, are for the highly elevated, one who is proud of possessing them becomes blind. Becomes blind. And thus he loses his good sense and cannot appreciate. Na pashyanti. Does not appreciate, becomes blind to the glories of great personalities. Na pashyanti hi dhama bhuyasam. When one becomes proud of one's own wealth, beauty, youth, heritage, education, austerities, power, then one becomes blind to the good qualities of others. Humse badkar kaun attitude comes that I am the best. I have told many times the story of Dronacharya sending Duryodhan to find somebody who is better than him. And he says, Gurudev, I tried all day long. I'm sorry. Just couldn't find anybody better than me, because anybody I met, I have qualities that they don't have, and they lack qualities that I do. So I cannot say with confidence that anybody is better than me. That's what happens when we are proud of our good qualities. We become na pashyanti dhama bhuyasam. We are not able to see the good qualities in others. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, it may be argued that since Daksha was very learned, wealthy, and austere, and had descended from a very high exalted heritage. What was the high exalted heritage of Daksha? He was directly the son of Lord Brahma. How could he be unnecessarily angry towards Lord Shiva, who is a Mahajan? The answer is that when the qualities of good education, good parentage, I was born in a famous family, beauty, I'm Mr. India, I'm Miss World, sufficient wealth, I'm a billionaire, karodpati, multi karodpati, arabpati. What happens is, are misplaced in a person who is puffed up by all these possessions. They produce a very bad result. When we become proud of these possessions, then it ruins everything. Milk is very nice, but when milk is touched by the envious serpent, it becomes poisonous. Will we drink poison if we know that a king cobra has put its venom in it? Nobody will drink. So, like that. So, therefore, Kunti Maharani Prabhupada writes, says that Krishna is Gochar to those who are Akinchan. Tvam Akinchana Gochara. Gochar means Krishna is approachable, attainable by those who are Akinchan. They have nothing, no possessions. Whereas if one is proud, then Krishna is Agochar. He is not available to the proud. Text 18. नैतादृशानां स्वजनव्यपेक्षया गृहान् प्रतीयादनवस्थितात्मनां येभ्यागतान् वक्रधियाभिचक्षते आरोपितभ्रूभिरमर्षणाक्षिभिः. One should not go to anyone's house. Lord Shiva is saying one should not go to anyone's house, even on the consideration of his being a relative or a friend, when the man is disturbed in his mind and looks upon the guest with raised eyebrows or angry eyes. Hare Krishna. Abhichakshate aropita brubhi, raised eyebrows, and amarashana akshibhi, eyes are filled with anger. If someone has anger towards you, one should not go there, even though invited. The word used is abhyagatan. Atithi means uninvited guest. We should definitely not go as atithi, someone who is angry at us. But even if someone invites and that person is angry at us, we should not go. Even as a abhyagat. Abhyagat means a invited guest. One should not go, Lord Shiva is saying. Your father is angry with me. We should not go. Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, however low a person may be, he is never unkind to his children, wife, or nearest kin. Even a tiger is kind to its cub. For within the animal kingdom, the cubs are treated very nicely. Ugropi anugra evayam swabhaktanam nirkeshari keshariva swapotanam annesham ugra vikrama. A keshari, a tiger, lion is very, a lioness will very aggressive towards others, but to her own cubs, she is very loving. Since Sati was the daughter of Daksha, however cruel and contaminated Daksha might be, naturally it was expected that he would receive her very nicely. But here it is indicated by the verse, Anavasthita. Anavasthita means that such a person cannot be trusted because the person is disturbed in mind because of anger. Tigers are very kind to their cubs, but it is also known that sometimes the tigers eat their own cubs. It is a fact, especially the males, male lion or male tiger. Malicious person should not be trusted because they are always unsteady. Remember, Kansa told Vasudeva, okay, you are free, go. And the next moment, again arrested him. Cannot be trusted. They are fickle minded. They are not steady in their intelligence. Thus, Sati was advised not to go to her father's house because to accept such a father as a relative and to go to his house without being properly invited was not suitable. He should not have gone. She should not have gone. Text 19. तथारिभिर्न व्यथते शिलीमुखैः शेतेर्दिताङ्गो हृदयेन दूयता स्वानां यथा वक्रधियां दुरुक्तिभिर्दिवानिशं तप्यति मर्म ताडितः. Lord Shiva continued, speaking to his dear wife, Shri Sati Devi, if one is hurt by the arrows of an enemy, Vyathate, Aribhi, Ari means enemy, Vyathate means is hurt, and Shilimukha means by the arrows. If one is hurt by the arrows of enemy, one is not as aggrieved as when cut by the unkind words of a Swanam, one's own relatives. Remember last time we discussed the story of the ironsmith, the blacksmith, and the goldsmith. Goldsmith shop, workshop, there is less noise because iron is hitting gold. But in the blacksmith shop, there is too much loud noise because iron is hitting iron. There is one verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Who can find it? Let's see. The verse goes, Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. हमें तो अपनों ने लूटा, गैरों में कहाँ दम था, हमारी नौका डूबी वहां जहां पानी कम था. Who can find this verse? Shama Kishori Mataji, you found this? Chaitanya Chaitanya. But that is a Siddhanta. हमें तो अपनों ने लूटा, गैरों में कहाँ दम था, हमारी नौका डूबी वहां जहां पानी कम था. So when our own people attack, it is very, very, very painful. But when outsiders attack, it is not so painful because it is expected. It is expected that they will behave like this. They will cheat, they will ridicule, they will act selfishly. They cannot be trusted. But when people who we trust, thou too, Brutus, then Caesar must die. Hare Krishna. Thou too, Brutus? You, Brutus, you are my friend. You are stabbing me? Oh, then Caesar must die. Hare Krishna. So, this is actually a Siddhanta that when our own people cheat us, then it is very, very painful. Can you imagine how Duryodhan must have felt when he found out that his own cousin brother, with whom they used to play all day long, go to the same teacher, same school, eat the same food from the same kitchen, share the same house, same palace, they are trying to kill him, murder him, poison him. Not even a Kshatriya death. Come on, fight with us. Fair fight. We'll fight. Hand to hand combat. No. They tried to poison him secretly. It's very painful when our own people cheat us. Therefore, one of the symptoms of love is to make oneself vulnerable to the object of our love, to make oneself vulnerable. Normally, we don't make ourselves vulnerable to others. We will not share our passwords with them. We will not give our iPhone passcode to other people. But when we love somebody, we share everything. We make ourselves vulnerable to that person. To make oneself vulnerable to somebody is a sign of love. And we should do that with Shri Krishna and Srimati Radharani. The Gopsakhas looked at Shri Krishna, Shama Kishori Mataji, when we were discussing in tobacco, Aghasur Vad. The Gopsakhas looked at Shri Krishna and they had confidence that even if this cave turns out to be a python, Shri Krishna will protect us. So they made themselves vulnerable to Lord Krishna. Krishna is there, we are depending. Trust. So, sign of love is that we make ourselves vulnerable to that person. Making oneself vulnerable is a sign of love and trust. And we should make ourselves vulnerable to Krishna. Give an example of how Srila Prabhupada made himself vulnerable. Leaving his quarters, his rooms in Radha Damodar temple and going to a country where he knew nobody, with no money, no experience, no supporters. Prabhupada made himself vulnerable, did he not? To get on Jalduta, to come and live in the Lower East Side of Manhattan, which was the most dangerous part of New York in those days. Prabhupada made himself vulnerable. To make oneself exposed and vulnerable is a sign of love. That is the point. So Lord Shiva is saying, when we are betrayed by such people who we trust and to whom we make ourselves vulnerable to, then it is very painful. Very painful. If one is hurt by the arrow of enemy, it is not so painful. But when the unkind words, not even arrows, just unkind words of a relative or a loved one, oh, that is very painful, for such grief continues to rend one's heart day and night. Diva nisham tapyati marma tadita. Wow. Durukti bhi, durukti, ukti means to speak. Durukti means their harsh words. Diva nisham, day and night. Diva means day, Nisha means night. Diva Nisham tapyati. It causes pain. Marma tadita. To our heart, it gives so much hurt because it was someone we loved, it was someone we trusted. Therefore, my dear friends, when people make themselves vulnerable to us, actually, when we hear somebody's Hari Katha, we are making ourselves vulnerable to that person because we are opening our ears, opening our heart, putting our trust that this person will not cheat me. Is it not? So it's a great responsibility. It's a great responsibility. The children make themselves vulnerable to the parents. The wife makes herself vulnerable to her husband. Imagine sharing the house with a man, leaving your parents and going and living in another man's house and accepting his family as my new family, changing one's surname or last name. These are all signs of affection and trust. You're making yourself vulnerable to that person. That person can just leave you in 2 months, is it not? And then what happens to a woman? In the society, especially in the Vedic society, for a woman that can be a cause of great difficulties. So the point is to make oneself vulnerable to somebody is a sign of love. And Lord Shiva is saying when we do that, and that person who we love and trust treats us very unfairly, very harshly, oh, it causes so much pain day and night. Very true. Lord Shiva is speaking this because he doesn't want to expose his wife to that situation where she will have to endure the harsh words of her father, who she loves and trusts so much. Because Sri Sati Devi, when she goes to her father Daksha's house for the festival, she is making herself vulnerable to her father. And Lord Shiva says, don't do that because you are inviting a heartbreak. Hare Krishna. Purport. Srila Prabhupada writes, Sri Sati Devi might have concluded that she would take the risk of going to her father's house. She take a risk. Means you're making yourself vulnerable. And even if her father spoke unkindly against her, she would be tolerant, as a son sometimes tolerates the reproaches of the parents. But Lord Shiva reminded her that she would not be able to tolerate such unkind words because natural psychology dictates that although one can suffer harm from an enemy and not mind so much because pain inflicted by an enemy is natural, when one is hurt by the strong words of a loved one, a relative, one suffers the effects continuously day and night. And sometimes the injury becomes so intolerable that you can read it, one commits suicide. Srila Prabhupada says, Hare Krishna. And this is factually true. I can attest to this because I have seen suicidal deaths and I have taken care of many, many dozens and dozens of patients with failed attempts also. And when we ask them, this is what it turns out that the near and dear ones betrayed their trust. And that's what pushed them to the brink. Text 20. व्यक्तं त्वम् उत्कृष्टगते प्रजापते प्रियात्मजानामसि सुभ्रुमे मता तथापि मानं न पितु प्रपत्स्यसे मदाश्रयात् कः परितप्यते यतः. Shri Shankar Bhagavan is saying, O Priya, oh, my dear wife, Subhru, beautiful eyebrows you have. You are Utkrishta Gate, you are having Tvam Utkrishta Gate, you have excellent behavior, Charitra. Prajapate, you are the daughter of Prajapati Daksha. Atmajanam, you are the pet daughter of all the daughters of Daksha. My dear fair complexioned wife, Sri Sati, it is clear that of the many daughters of Daksha, you are the favorite, you are the pet. Yet, you will not be honored at Daksha's house because of your being my wife. And this is many times true even in devotee relationships. We don't like somebody and somebody is closely connected with that person, we are not able to treat that person kindly because of that devotee's connection with somebody that we don't like. Hare Krishna. It even happens, my dear friends, if we don't like somebody and we see that devotee's deities, we don't have respect and honor for the deities also of that devotee because our mind is contaminated. Just see the nature of rosh, anger. Human mind is really very demoniac. And Krishna consciousness means to tame the mind, to control the mind, to purify the mind, change of heart. That is the meaning of Krishna consciousness. Very difficult. But it is a nature that we hate somebody or we detest somebody, then anybody, anything connected to that person we don't like. And this is what we were reading in Bhagavad Gita yesterday. Raga Desha Vimuktaisya. We have to become Vimukta from Rag and Dvesh, both. Nandini, you remember? We discussed about Dvesh in the beginning. Why it is important to give up Dvesh? It's a great impediment. Rag, attachment is definitely impediment in progress, spiritual progress. But even Dvesh, hatred, is a great impediment on the path of progress. And both have to be given up. And we have to invest our emotions and make ourselves vulnerable to Krishna. Sripad Indra Prabhu was approached by one Mataji who had a divorce. She was in her 40s. I have told the story before, but again, it is very close to my heart. So I keep sharing this story. She had a divorce and she was feeling lonely. And before Sripad Indra Prabhu, as her Shiksha Guru, she came to meet Sripad Indra Prabhu. And in the presence of another brahmachari, Sripad Indra Prabhu would never meet a Mataji alone. He would always have some brahmachari with him. So Shripadayanda Prabhu went to meet this Mataji in Krishna Balram Mandir and she came and she broke down. She said, I'm in my 40s, I'm a divorcee, I don't have children, I feel lonely, I have a whole life. Mukta Sangha Prabhu, where have you been? I'm so happy to see you. Haribol. So this Mataji, she was sharing her heart that I'm very lonely and I don't know how I'm going to spend the rest of my life all alone. I need a companion. So I'm thinking there is this man, and I'm thinking of considering getting married to him. Shivadendra Prabhu found that idea very distasteful. He said, don't you have deities? She said, yeah, I've got Gaur Nitai. She said, why do you need a husband? She said, someone to talk to, someone who will hold my hand, someone who will hug me, someone I can trust, someone who will be with me all the time. She said, Gaurnit, I can do all of that and much more. why do you need a husband? Just be with your Gaurnitai. Hold their hand, embrace them, talk to them, trust them, make yourself vulnerable to them. Why you want to get married? Hare Krishna. Shripadayendra Prabhu ki jai. Shripadayendra Prabhu ki jai. Shripadayendra Prabhu ki jai. Shripadayendra Prabhu ki jai. So great Ayendra Prabhu is. We can never thank Sripad Ayendra Prabhu enough. The gems that he has given us, the jewels of instructions he has given us, the insight he has given us, the one pointedness that he exudes, is unparalleled. We are so grateful. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada's different vibhutis manifest in different disciples. Srila Prabhupada's Audarya Bhav, his supremely compassionate nature manifests in Srila Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, his Nityananda Avesh. Guru Agya Shirasi Dhritva Shaktyavesh Swarupine Hare Krishna iti mantrena Paschatya Prachyatarine. That vibhuti of Srila Prabhupada you see in Sripada, Srimad Srila Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. Srila Prabhupada's vibhuti of book distribution, book manufacture, building temples, building communities, inspiring powerful preachers. That vibhuti you see in Srimad Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. What wonderful temples, communities, amazing book distribution, and so many empowered acharyas Srila Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj has given this world. The likes of His Holiness Srila Bhakti Ashraya Vaishnava Swami Maharaj, His Holiness Srila Prabhudananda Saraswati Maharaj, and so many other great devotees who will continue our movement forward. Taking care of children, preaching to the Westerners, building community, book distribution, Shastric study, just being exemplary in the Varnashram and completely steeped in a godly life. Mercy of Sri Chaitanya Nitai, Doyal Nitai Chaitanya, that Vibhuti Shripad, His Holiness Vaisheshikha Das Adhikari Maharaj, fully manifested. The love for the deities, deity worship, Shripad Pankajangri Prabhu and Shripad Jananivas Prabhu. More than half a century of one-pointed devoted service to Shri Shri Radha Madhav Ashtasakis and Shri Shri Prahlad Narasimhadev and Shri Panchatattva in Shri Mayapur Dham. That vibhuti of Srila Prabhupada is seen in His Grace Shripad Pankajangri Prabhu and His Grace Shripad Jananivas Prabhu. And so many, so much more. Srila Prabhupada's astute sense of management, his leadership quality, Srila Prabhupada's purely transcendental, indomitable spirit, and purely transcendental shrewdness in dealing with the materialistic people. At the same time, being very soft, harder than a thunderbolt and softer than a rose. Vajradapi kathoram, kusumadapi komalam. His Holiness Srila Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. Very soft internally, but a taskmaster when it comes to getting things done, whether it is acquiring property in Raman Reti, in Sri Vrindavan Dham, acquiring property in the Vidharmi infested Sri Mayapur Dham. He used to get it done. Very, very trustworthy, right hand man. Srila Prabhupada's man. His Holiness Srila Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, fondly called as Goswami Maharaj in ISKCON. Goswami Maharaj. Srila Prabhupada's pure love for Radha Govinda. Srila Prabhupada's worshipable deities are Shri Shri Radha Govinda. From his childhood, Srila Prabhupada worshipped Shri Shri Radha Govinda Dev. Srila Prabhupada's pure love for Radha Govinda. Srila Prabhupada's pure love for Grantharaj, Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada's pure love for Sri Vrindavan Dham. This Vibhuti of Srila Prabhupada has manifested in the form of His Holiness Shri Srimad Radha Govinda Das Goswami Maharaj, a pure Brajvasi, as we were discussing in the Marathi class, Srimad Bhagavatam's Marmagya, himself a Bhakta Bhagavat. There is Grantha Bhagavat and there is Bhakta Bhagavat. Shri Srimad Radha Govinda Das Goswami Maharaj. Srila Prabhupada said that in ISKCON we should have somebody who can do Bhagavad Katha, Bhagavad Saptah, and that desire was fulfilled by Srila Radha Govinda Das Goswami Maharaj. So in this way, there are many facets of Srila Prabhupada's personality, and his different pure disciples have embodied different opulences of Srila Prabhupada's, different vibhutis. It's so beautiful to watch. So beautiful to watch. We can keep speaking like this, glorifying Srila Prabhupada by glorifying his pure followers. Hare Krishna. I have no idea how I got there. Let's come back to this verse. My dear fair complexioned wife, it is clear that of the many daughters of Daksha, you are the pet. Yet you will not be honored at the house of your father because you are my wife. And when Daksha sees you, he is going to see you not as his pet daughter, but he will see you as my wife, and he detests me. Rather, you will be sorry that you are connected with me. Lord Shiva put forward the argument that even if Sri Sati Devi proposed to go alone, ठीक है आप मत आओ, you don't come, my father doesn't like you, I'll go alone. Still, she would not be received well because she was Lord Shiva's wife. And we were discussing how when we don't like a devotee, we don't like that devotee's friends, that devotee's deities, that devotee's services. There was every chance of a catastrophe, even if she wanted to go alone. Therefore, Lord Shiva indirectly requested her not to go to her father's house. Last verse for today. पापच्यमानेन हृदातुरेन्द्रियः समृद्धिभिः पुरुषबुद्धिसाक्षिणाम् अकल्प एषाम् अधिरोढुमञ्जसा परं पदं द्वेष्टि यथा सुराहरिम्. One who is conducted by false ego, Lord Shiva is telling, and thus always distressed both mentally and sensually, cannot tolerate the opulence of self-realized persons. Yes, seen this also. Once one very envious IAS officer, so in Bombay near Mantralaya, a special satsang was organized by a certain IAS people, big bureaucrats and their families were invited. And one person came there and started asking very, very disrespectful, uncouth, rude, downright rude questions from my beloved Guru Pada Padma, His Holiness Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj. Where everybody becomes like you. What is it? Why ISKCON is not doing something meaningful? Why ISKCON is not doing social service? Why ISKCON is not? Why this? Why that? You don't see what incredible spiritually transcendental work is being done, and you're simply finding faults. It is a fact, my dear friends, that when people are conducted by their false ego, as Lord Shiva is saying, they cannot tolerate the good qualities of a sadhu. They find faults in a sadhu. It is seen. They will criticize the sadhus. Being unable to rise to the standard of self-realization, such a person envies the sadhus as much as demons envy the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because they have the demoniac mentality. Demons envy Bhagwan, and these asadhus envy sadhus. They cannot tolerate. Why everybody is respecting? What was the fault of Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur? बेचारे वन में एक तुलसी के पौधे के सामने बैठकर बेचारे भजन कर रहे थे. Srila Haridas was simply sitting in front of a tulsi plant in the middle of the forest and just doing his bhajan. But Ramchandra Khan could not tolerate why people are lining up and going and offering obeisances to this Vidharmi. Why? I am here. I am the Zamindar. I am the local leader. Why they are not coming in front of my mansion? Why are they going into the forest to offer obeisances to that bhikari? That was his mentality. He could not tolerate. What was Srivas Thakur's fault? Why Gopal Chapal could not tolerate the fame of Srila Srivas Thakur? So this is a fact that envious people, they are overcome by their false ego and prestige, and they simply cannot tolerate the good qualities of a sadhu. Purport. The real reason for the enmity, Srila Prabhupada writes, the real reason for the enmity between Lord Shiva and Prajapati Daksha is explained here. Daksha was envious of Lord Shiva because of Lord Shiva's high position as an incarnation of the quality of Supreme Personality. There's a fact, Lord Shiva is a Guna avatar. He is a special tattva. He is superior to any devata, including Lord Brahma. Lord Shiva is greatest. And because Lord Shiva was directly in contact with the Super Soul Paramatma and was therefore honored by everyone and given a better sitting place than Daksha, Daksha simply envied Lord Shiva. This is the nature of pride, arrogance. This is the nature of being materially puffed up. His anger at Lord Shiva's not standing up in his presence was only the final manifestation of the envy that he harbored in his heart. So, this is what we were discussing. It is not a one time event. Daksha getting angry at Lord Shiva and cursing him. Daksha had harbored envy in his heart toward Lord Shiva for a long time. And that was the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back. Lord Shiva not standing up in the Yajna Shala, in the sacrificial arena. Which teaches us that when we have negative feelings towards a Vaishnava, we should deal with those feelings and sort them out before we go to bed that night. If we allow those feelings to smolder and fester and ferment in the heart, that negativity is only going to get worse and worse and worse, and one day, like a volcanic eruption, it will come out. And that will be our nemesis, because that day we will commit Vaishnava Aparadha. Hare Krishna. Tomasthane aparadhe, tare hari naam. Sorry, beg your pardon. Hari sthane aparadhe, tare hari naam. O Vaishnav Thakur, Tomasthane aparadhe, nahi paritran. If we commit offense against Lord Hari, Hari Naam will save us. But if we commit offense against Vaishnavas, then nahi paritran, then nobody can save us. So this is a very important thing that we have to understand. Asuras, demons, or atheists are always envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They simply want to kill Krishna. Even in this age, we find some so-called scholars commenting on Bhagavad Gita who are envious of Lord Krishna. When Krishna says, Man mana bhava mad bhakta, Bhagavad Gita 18.65, always think of me, become my devotee, surrender unto me. The so-called scholars comment that it is not Krishna that we have to surrender to. It is some divine Brahman speaking through Krishna. Like that. They minimize Krishna. And Prabhupada says, this is envy. This is envy against Bhagavan. And if we envy Bhagavan, it's just a matter of time. We will envy other people also. We envy other people in this world because we have envy towards Bhagavan. This is a fact. So I will stop here because I have come to my friend's home and we still have to go home. And my in-laws are also with me, waiting for me. So that's why we end the class early today. But very beautiful prasanga is going on. Many Amrit nectarian instructions, and we'll continue from verse 22, Krishna willing, next week. I seek all of your blessings for successful service to all the devotees in Baltimore. Thank you. Mukta Sangha Prabhu, you will be able to come someday this weekend or busy?
I am little busy with we are having biggest festival of the year. We do Tulsi Vivaha in a grand scale.
Oh,
Fifth.
that is coming up. Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's coming up next week. So
No problem, no
I'll be
problem.
busy. And
That
after
is
that, I'm traveling to India. So
Hari Hari.
right after that.
You
So
you are performing Katyayani Vrat in India. Hare Krishna. जय हो हाँ ठीक है विल मीट नेक्स्ट टाइम प्रभु जी थैंक यू शील प्रभुपाद की
yeah,
जय
thank you
ग्रंथराज
very
श्रीमद्
much.
भागवतम की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय निताई गौर हरि बोल जय जय श्री राधे श्याम थैंक यू वेरी मच डियर डिवोटीज हरे कृष्ण
Hari Bol,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.